Lesson number 11, channels. Hi folks, it's Stratman here from pipware.com. Today we're going to talk about channels and how they can be used effectively for your trading. We're on the Euro USD daily chart, and what I tend to do is I look for places where we've had a move and then we get a bit of a flag forming. Once I see that, I will then try and draw the best fit channel to that, particularly when I see that we're starting to turn out of that flag. So here we can see a good point of congestion or consolidation, and there's the break away from that, and if you drew a trend line along here you can see that we've got a break downwards again. So for me, I would then start drawing a channel based on that, and I'd look for the point where the flag kind of starts turning here and where it turns there, and I'll be looking for some kind of parallel line that I can draw there and to the other side, and then I'll be looking for a central line down the middle. Now I tend to use Andrew's pitchfork for drawing this, probably only because I'm not sure how to use this one here to get a line in the middle. Sometimes I might use the other one, which is what's this one called, on the Fibonacci, was it Fibonacci? Yeah, the Fibonacci channel. Sometimes I might draw that, but tend to just try and keep my charts quite simple, so I'm looking for really a center line and the two outside lines. So anyway, once we draw this, we can see that as prices come down, it's hit the other side of our channel, and in fact it's kind of been bouncing off the center line of our channel. So there's a case where on the daily chart the channel is a good thing to use. The two thick lines you see here and here are just very strong support and resistance lines that I've identified and just placed on my chart. The next thing to do is, if you're an intraday trader, we know that there's a daily channel going down here. We probably want to start looking at down on lower time frames and see if there's a possibility of a channel forming, particularly in the opposite direction. So for me, I'm looking at this situation here where potentially this is a opportunity for trend to be changing direction. Now for trend to change direction, what we're looking for is we've got a low here and a high here. We're looking to see whether we can get a higher high and a higher low. Well, clearly this is kind of a lower high, and this one here is a lower low than this one. Now if this here forms a higher low than this one, potentially we've got an opportunity for this to become a trend reversal. So I always look for these opportunities, and I tend to draw a channel kind of based on what I see here. Now what I can see visually is that there's kind of a line occurring through here and through here. So, and what I tend to find is that based on another channel like this one coming down, if we're going to go in the opposite direction, we'll probably get something that's a mirror image of this line going this way. So if I go down to my 1 hour, it becomes a little bit clearer what I'm talking about. So at the moment we've got our low here, and we've got a high here, and this is possibly going to be forming a higher low. So my tact is to draw a channel now based on the lows here to see whether we can see a turn at this point and then continue on trading off the bottom of this channel. So let's do that. So what I'll do is I'll grab the Andrew's pitchfork and just pick some points that I think are going to be quite relevant for this. Like there's a swing low there, I'll grab a high up here and I'll grab a low there, and what we'll see is that the pitchfork draws, and I'll zoom this out in a sec just so you can see it a bit better. So if we zoom that out, you might be able to see what I've done here. Basically I'm seeing, if I bring this one back a bit to there, what's kind of happened is that, I may have to zoom it out a little bit more actually, what you can see is that that this is forming quite a good support and resistance line already, the bottom of the channel. So there could be a really good trading opportunity here to trade long at this point here, because we've already seen that price has kind of been hitting this as support, and it's kind of hitting it as support again. So we may be able to get long there. The other thing that's kind of confirming that possibly this is a turning point is the fact that this center line that was drawn is kind of being hit right on a corner of, or a crossover of my other daily channel. So, and then also the top of here is becoming a resistance point for all these little points here. And if we zoom in a bit closer, you'll see that that better. But particularly this point here is of interest because it's showing me that there's very serious resistance right on this edge. So that's what I tend to do, is look for a move, look for a bit of a flag, build the channel, and then go down to a lower time frame like the H1 and see if I can see some kind of channel starting to form that's going to take us into a new trend direction. And what I'm seeing here is that there's a higher high here and there's a higher low here than previous low and the previous high. So you know that on the 1 hour chart, to me this looks like we're starting to see a trend change. So we'll try and get in on that. Let's zoom in a bit and look just in a little bit more detail what's kind of going on there. And if we look at the top of the channel, it's actually fitting quite well, seeing that as resistance points. The other thing I said was that it was possibly going to be a bit like a mirror image here of the two channels. So this is the daily channel that I've got there, and this is the 1 hour channel. See how they're almost a mirror image. In other words, the angle going this way is the opposite of the angle going that way. So, and I've got the center line certainly is looking like a good point of resistance. Now all we're looking for is, if I just tidy up that line a little bit, we can see that price is kind of climbing along this channel. So what we're looking for is possibly a break of this area here, and we could be into a long trade. So there you go. That's kind of my take on channels. Gives me an idea of where price could be going right now. So I suggest you draw them up. They are very, very handy tools. Okay, now if we go back down to our 15-minute time frame, what we can see is the channel we drew has been respected really well on the top. That was that peak we saw, and incredibly well on the bottom here. Just seeing a little bit of hairy stuff happening right out of the bottom of here. We can't guarantee that this is definitely going to be a point of turning, but all we're seeing is that it's a high probability point. Now we're also pretty close to a big round number, and you can see that the H1 support is right on 3,500, 1.35. So potentially this could be a good turning point right here. And if we see price touch here and turn away, we've got another good confirmation of this being very high probability, because that would be considered a double bottom. So prices may not be able to get lower than this 1.35. So there you go. We're waiting for just this line here to break, and I would hazard a guess that we're probably going to be seeing divergence on our MACD based on this formation here. So channels can be used really effectively for determining trend change. Okay, I hope that's been helpful to you, and we'll catch you on another lesson.